Villeroy Boch presents the Design FM, powered by Englaze, with episode partner Alucobond, curated by Eztablish, in association with FOAID.
So, Hafeez sir, your firm has been appointed to work on the Dharavi redevelopment project, which is the Asia's largest slum. How does an architect start? Where do we start? Where do we even look at redevelopment of a space that huge?
I have been always, you can use the word passionate, or I have been always looking at slums and people living in slums, and always felt that this is not the right way, or we should do something about it. So when Mr. 𝗗𝗲𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏 was leading the Shiv Sena government, I had gone to him with an idea, and when Mr. 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗗𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏 was the housing minister, I had gone to him and said, "Sir, I have an idea by which we can eradicate the slums of Mumbai." And he said, "How?" We made the whole study of all the slums of Mumbai at that time. And my office worked 24 hours for so many days. We used to go with Mr. 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏 early morning in a bus and go and see the slums, everything. And then we presented a scheme to Mr. 𝗗𝗗𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏. And mind you, Mr. Pramod Mahajan was there, 𝗃𝗏𝗀𝗃 𝗵𝗏𝗃 was there, Manoj Joshi was there, and some other guys were there. And everybody told 𝗗𝗗𝗃 nako kara, nako kara, nako kara. And 𝗗𝗗𝗃 stood like a real firm guy, which he was. And I must say that he really had the, he said, "Mala karai chai hai." Huh? And he did that. At that time, there was so much of opposition from big guys.
But why would someone oppose
Baba,
eradicating slums?
see, there is something like this. That is the mind.
Politics?
No, that is the mind, politics, whatever you may call it. Some people like this, some people like this. Some people think that this is the right way of doing it. Some people think this is the right way of doing it. And that you can't change. And there were a lot of people saying that, oh, the slum guys should be allowed to live the way they are, and they should be given money and this. And according to me, it was not the right way. And at that time, a lot of opposition. But then we started with one or two schemes. And mind you, after we completed the first scheme, one day, one reporter comes to me. I didn't know that he was a reporter. He was a young man like you. But only thing, the hair was blonde. He came, he walks into my office and he says, "Oh, I'm so-and-so, this, and I would like to talk to you." I said, "Okay." He talked to me in this. And he asked me, "Oh, you have been doing slums, and so many people are saying this is not correct, that is not right, this. I said, "You guys go and have a look at it and do your whole." He went to the site, he went here, there. He had another round of talks with me, and he left. After about 2-3 months or 4 months, one day I get a call from New York, and he says, "Oh, you remember I'm this. I said, "Oh, yeah. And he says, "Oh, I'm from New York Times." I said, "Oh, really? You never told me." "My editor would like to talk to you. What time can he call you up?" So I told him, "Call me up my evening, because I'll be more free." That editor called me up, and how long did he talk to me? He virtually, I talked to me for 1.5 hours or 2 hours. They had done a complete survey of each and every client of mine, each and every works of mine. They had gone and met several people in the those slums, everywhere where we had done the rehousing, everything.
So I had read it somewhere that they had termed you as the architect. Bomb Bollywood star architect, like star architect, but star architect.
I don't know about that. But after that, they wrote an article in New York Times, 2 full pages in New York Times. And I got calls from all these guys that New York Times has never written such a fantastic architect on article on any architect. And they appreciate it because this is the right thing. A guy who is sleeping when in the rain, the water is coming down, there is no drainage, there is no water. And one thing I must tell you, and which I'll never forget, when we were doing the Bhumi Puja of that scheme, 2 ladies came, Maharashtrian ladies with that 9-yard sari, nose ring, everything. And they told me, my client and Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, that come near the Ganpati Ji's mandir. They took us. I also went. So one of the guys who was the promoter of that scheme says, "Ye मालूम है ये औरत लोग क्या करती है?" I knew that always, whenever I used to go out for some nice occasion, my mother used to do me tika and all that. And that's called, we used to call it achumichu, I said, नहीं, ये लोग आपकी आरती लेती है, तो ले दो. लेकिन नहीं, हमारी महाराष्ट्रियन औरत लोग ऐसा किसी की भी आरती नहीं लेती है. वो खाली खुदा की और पति की लेती है. तो I asked that lady, Baba, why me? I'm neither a khuda nor your pati. He says, you know what you have done to us? And this I'll never ever forget in my life. She said that today we cannot go to toilet before, after sunrise. And we cannot go to toilet before sunset. Because after sunrise, if they go to toilet anywhere, people will see.
Correct.
I said, what? He says, you have given us toilet, you have given us water, and you have given us a pakka roof. I'll never forget that. And to understand that a person, that lady, she might be peeing or, in that small area. She does not go to the toilet and holds on for the whole day. Now, that is what people say, what is the best building you have done? What is this and that and that? And those kind of good buildings and looks and all that is just out of the window. There's nothing. There's nothing. Think about this. You change their life. You change the way they are living. This is what really makes me happy.
Absolutely. But then
the same thing, another thing that I've done, and I've done a lot of this kind of things like changing the law and stuff like that. Like when we were doing Sitco NRI, and there was that, you can't go more than so many floors. And I went to the then the commissioner, MD, Mr. Sinha, and I said, sir, why are you not allowing us to go higher? I can have large green spaces and stuff like that. He says, okay, I'll give you the approval. And today you go to that Sitco NRI, it's the same FSI. You go to other places, congested, everything, you look into other people's windows and all that. And here you have half an acre, 2 acres of green spaces, everyone opening onto the green spaces. It is by changing the law. The same thing, we did it for DLF. When we started doing DLF, and when we started the phase 5, okay, the law was, that we are going to make, row houses and all that. And that was the law. So at that time, I told Mr. K.P. Singh, sir, why are we doing this? Once we make all these small row houses and bungalows and all that, so many roads, so many walls, and it'll be forgotten. Why can we not make some big garden, big forest and go high rise? So he said, hey, Baba, this is not the law. The law doesn't allow. So I said, sir, why can we not go and change the law? He said, kya baat karte ho aap? Kya baat karte ho? Huh? But after a few days, he one day told me, why don't we make that kind of a plan and we'll go? So Mr. K.P. Singh, Mr. Chandra, and Mr. Ansal, three big dons of real estate in Gurgaon, and we went to the Chief Minister, Mr. Bhajan Lal, at that time, and I presented the scheme. And Bhajan Lal liked it, and he said, "ये तो बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है, इतनी सारी greenery, वो सब हो जाएगा." And the law was changed. Today, what is happening in DLF, the Phase 5, is no doubt the buildings are superb, no doubt everything. But the whole ambience, we are talking about, talk about New York, everybody talks about the Central Park, 990 acres. All of that is done by government. Hyde Park, all of that is done by government. But after 20 years, when maybe I'm alive, people will appreciate after 20 years that whole 550 acres with the ridge area, which will become like 2,000 acres or more than that. And when the whole Gurgaon with all its high rises has come, and that big patch of that 2,000 acres, somebody, who the hell made it? Wow. That's really gives pleasure. Buildings will come and go. Her aesthetics, her comes and goes. But these kind of things will always be permanent.
Speaking of changing laws, you've been advocating FSI change in Maharashtra for the longest time. Been seen a lot of interviews of you a decade back, 20 years back, and you always mentioned this, that FSI has to change. Now, understanding from the government's perspective, why are they not? What is the reason? What is the apprehension? We know it has to be changed. So, what is their apprehension to change?
See, there are types and types of apprehension. As soon as you change the FSI, they have to think about the infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, for infrastructure, you need money. Now, a lot of municipalities and all of them don't have that kind of money. And let's be very, very clear that from the time the independence, we were not a rich country. We were a poor country. So we may say, and I also have been saying that for so many years, the FSI was never changed. And the BJP government came and they started changing the FSI, and all the FSI all over the country has risen. Now, not having that increase in FSI has given rise to slums, because an ordinary person wants a house. In the olden days, what used to happen, that all new areas used to open up, and the rich people were staying in that old area, went to the new area. The old areas became housing for the poorer guys.
Correct.
That phenomena stopped. FSI never increased. So we have that spurt of slums all over India. But we can't blame that government, but this government increased the FSI, fine. But now today, we are pumping more into infrastructure. But being from what economic situations and all that, it's what comes first. And we have been, we need economic housing.
Yes.
We just can't say that just go high rise. And so we have been building houses, ground and one upper, ground and two upper, ground and one upper. And we have been gobbling the land as if land is unlimited. That is not so. From one side, we have been gobbling land. From another side, we have to give economic housing. From the third side, we have to think about what is the future and climate change. Today, the most important thing is climate change. And for us, as Indians, Europe, America, all that is completely different. They don't have to have so much of built area to house their population. We, 1.3 billion. Now, if you look at it, how many people in India have proper housing, which has proper sanitation, proper electrification, proper fire? I would say more than half of our population doesn't have that. God forbid if there is a big earthquake. God forbid there is a big flood. God forbid. What will happen? And we're very, very lucky that after COVID also, we fared very well. God has been very, very kind to us. You go to the slums, and we were all wearing masks and all that, and nothing happened with all that congested areas. God has been very, very kind to us. But now, if you look at it, you look at yesterday, day before yesterday, on the TV, Jharkhand, floods, how things are just getting wiped off. We have to take care of our environment. And
where do we start?
See, that is. See, now look at it. India, population of 1.3 billion. Our land area to our population is only 2.5% of the world's area. We have something like 17.8% of the world's population. Now, environment, why it is all happening, fossil fuels, this, that, so many things. Okay. But the main thing is that we have been cutting trees, not taking care of the environment. Our forest land, according to the survey, is something like 23-24%. Okay. But actually it is not so. It is only 8 to 10%. Our wetlands, 7%.
How is that so? If they're claiming it to be 24%?
No, but if they say the designated area is forest, but they are already cut. They have been designated. You go to Tadoba. Have you ever been to Tadoba?
No.
I have been several times. The inner area of Tadoba, the outer area and the outer area. And the outer area is all being gobbled up by locals as farmland. The forest land is depleting. Now all that, forest land going down, temperatures rising. Already we are plus 1 degree. If 1.5 degrees come, how many species are going to be extinct? And you think and I think that we can live without anybody else. and all of that, we are sadly mistaken. The bee outside is doing a lot of work for you, okay? And so are all the other small insects which you just pat karke kill them. So, but they are necessity.
Right.
Another thing that is a very important point is all over the world, this phenomena that cheapest house, ground and one, I have a farm, I make a house, okay? Our urban cover is one of the highest. It is something like 9%, some other service says 10%. Okay. Now we have such a large urban cover. We have already promised in the Paris Accord also that we will increase our forest cover. Our agricultural cover, which is some 55, 60 something, we can't reduce that. Already all our cities, you look at Ahmedabad, you look at Delhi, you look at Mumbai, everything, not for Mumbai at least. We have been having one ring road, second ring road, third ring road, okay? Because all this time we have been thinking land is abundant and we have been just gobbling farmland. But it is not so. Land is the only commodity which is nobody can manufacture. Okay? We're talking about, electricity, this, that. There are several ways of now making electricity. Now there will be a small chip which will make so much watts of electricity and all that. Land, nobody is going to make. Only God. How do we take care of it? We have to think about new ways how we are going to design our cities. New ways how our people are going to live. We have to think about global warming, climate change. And that, to me, not just to me, to the whole world, is the most important thing. Because if the temperatures rise from 1 degree to 1.5, what is going to happen? Sea levels are going to rise. North Pole, ice melting. There'll be, we don't know what the weather is going to be. And the unfortunate part about urban areas is that whatever laws you make, whatever you want to do, it cannot be done overnight. And whatever laws also you make, by the time you get the results, the earliest is 10 years, 15 years. And that is going to be a big question mark because nobody can see what is going to happen in 15 years. So they just merrily keep on building, merrily keep on gobbling farmland. And the farmers are merrily gobbling the forest land. And if that, because having a green cover, the forest, not just the farms, is a big thing in reducing the temperature. There are many, many more things. Fossil fuels, lot of all the, how you are generating energy, all of that. A lot of people are doing that. But that is not going to be enough. So, how the new cities are going to come? And those new cities are going to be in India and Africa. Africa, you have to wait for a few more years. Because that's where the population burst is going to be.
Right.
America and all, is very little. So, we in India have to think how we are going to build our new cities. And that's a golden question. Yes, there is a way. I have already done a lot of work on it. There is a way. How you will do it. How you will preserve the farmland. Not only the farmland, you already gobbled the farm and the forest. Now, how the forest has to come to the city. That's the answer.
So, what exactly is
I
that?
can't talk. I'm not a poet. I'm not a writer. I can draw on your pad and show it to you.
Okay.
See, you have to restrict. You already got. How are you going to increase your forest cover from the 23 to something like 30, 35, which we already promised? How?
So we are bringing in the greens in the urban spaces and
How? You just don't have. See, it just cannot happen overnight.
right.
But yesterday I was on a panel and everybody said, oh, high rises are going to be expensive. This. I don't have a proper word to say. It's thinking, in a very, very foolish way. What is expense? About elevators, cost of construction. We have to have new ways of constructing. We have to have new bylaws, how you're going to construct. We just cannot have our cities, how the Romans made their cities and this, and we are just increasing, enlarging. We need real dense cities. Not only real dense cities, we need real dense super blocks. When I say real dense super blocks, say you are occupying, say, so many square kilometers, it should be done in only pods. Make the whole area green. How? What is the new car going to be? Electric cars? Or are they going to be there? Rather than, if you have those big pods, you just have vertical transportation. Inside, it's all electrical. The thinking has to be completely different. Completely different. It's just not that from 1 you're going to go to 2 and from 2 you're going to go to 3 and all that. No, that is not
drastic
the thing.
change.
It is a complete chemical change. And that is what is needed. And if you don't do it, just think about, you're reaching 1.5. Your sea level is going to increase by 0.5 meter. You go to 2. Your sea levels are going to go to how much? We got 6,000 kilometers of coastal land. How much of that land is going to go away? What are you talking about? Cost of a high rise. What are you talking about that? Negligible. But who the hell is going to change the thinking? That is the big problem. We have been taking so much from the nature. It's like, a guy who's been borrowing, and is not able to pay back. And that is not a good way. Now you're talking about Dharavi.
Yes.
Okay? Dharavi for so many years was never getting a start. It is. I've been working on Dharavi and we also made several plans, but it was never becoming a starting point. I studied and went to Mr. Piyush Goyal, the railway minister at that time, and I said, sir, you have land next to it, which is, your railway land and all that. If you can give us, because that it's not being used properly. With that, I got for the Maharashtra government 90 acres. So Piyush Goyal had agreed. We made the plans, showed it to him, and showed it to him that that becomes where I can put the Dharavi guys. And without any transit or anything, it can be a great start. And that was the starting point.
So what's the status on the Dharavi project? What timelines are we looking at?
My dear, from here I'm just going for that meeting. And I can assure you that what we are doing it for Dharavi people is something which I can say in this room, everybody's house, they will be better than that. Their open spaces will be better. Their rooms will be better. We are thinking about how the garbage, how the electricity, everything. And I can tell you that when we did the first thing for slum redevelopment, everybody started criticizing. Over here also, there will be a lot of criticism. But we've taken care of sun angles, we've taken care of, how they have been living right now, how they're going to wash their clothes, garbage. And I can tell you that that is the main thing, how we eradicate slums of Mumbai, how we eradicate slums of India.
Okay.
And we've been talking about 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 5 trillion. Just imagine if you are that kind of an economy and if you have a person sleeping on a street, I think it's a bloody shame to you, me, and everyone. We should be able to, and it's not that, it's not his fault. The housing is so expensive. I have been always saying that in India, however rich you are, you do not have housing of your standard. You do not have housing of your standard. If you are that rich in any other country, you'll be having same thing. Once my son had told me, "Oh, Dad, you're supposed to have big architect. We don't have any swimming pool. We don't have." Okay? Same thing. So, it's not his fault. The guy, there's a peon, there's a kachra wala, this, that. You can't tell him, buy a house of 50 lakhs and 60 lakhs. You have, you as a father figure, the politicians, everybody, they have to think about everyone. They have to make schemes where there is economic housing. And it's not that you cannot make it. It's not that you cannot make it. You have to make your laws in such a way that they can get it. It is your duty. Because he's doing his work. He's sweeping the street. That guy is doing the peon's work. That guy is a clerk in the... It's not their fault.
They should be able to afford a house.
Correct. So we need housing for everyone. We need affordable housing. And that is my aim. House for every Indian. Okay?
Okay. So on that note, we will end this conversation. It has always been a pleasure to meet you, Hafeez.
See you, my dear. Thank you very much.